Hey guys, Ducky here. Once again, we're back to the old bench top for another knife overview. And today, we got something a little different. The Cold Steel Ranch Boss 2. Now this knife is a bit different. As you can see, we're dealing with some very traditional lines, but we're coming from a company that is very well known for its modern options, such as the Verdict. This is what you would typically expect to see from Cold Steel. The Triad lock. I know they have some different locks out now, but anyways, we're here to talk about this. So what we have here is a 4-inch blade of SK5 carbon steel. Yes, this is made in China. This knife comes in at around $40-ish, and honestly, for the price, you're getting one hell of a knife. This, in terms of competitive options, is a little bit tricky to place. The one that really springs to mind is the Buck 110. I don't have one. I have the old timer. This is the 60 TW. Another nice knife, but smaller. Now the Buck 110 is going to be pretty much the same size as this. So if you want bigger, I mean, you can't really go wrong. Now, in terms of action and mechanism, it is kind of working off of two different locks. We have a liner lock here, as well as your typical slip joint. So to close this, it's a little bit sluggish. First, you have to disengage this lock. Once it's loose, you can fold it. So, over. See? It is a little tricky and it does take some getting used to. I'm still kind of working out some of the grittiness of the action. I did have an imperfection in the lock face right here. I did file it down most of the way, and it did actually smooth out the action quite a bit. But for $40, you kind of have to expect a little bit of loosey-goosiness on the quality control, especially on a knife this large with this many components going on. You can't expect everything to be perfect. But after correcting those rather minor issues, keep in mind this thing was hair popping sharp out of the box. After working out those minor issues, touch oil, clean it up, whew, one heck of an everyday carry. She is a slicer. That SK5 is holding up its edge very, very well, exactly where it needs to be for a daily carry. And typical of Cold Steel, this is definitely leaning more towards the working man over the actual collector's market, so very boring but extremely functional. And it, honestly, I would probably pick this over a Buck 110 just because I have a feeling it can handle a little bit more abuse than the Buck 110 could. And that's mostly just coming down to the steel choices. She is a fairly heavy knife. Let me grab my scale. Ta-da! Turn it on. Alright. Coming in at 5.3 ounces. So yeah, it's fairly heavy, but for a 4-inch blade, it's pretty much right where you would kind of expect it to be. But overall, I highly recommend this knife. It's a very interesting design if you're into traditionals. It'll fit right into your collection as like a real beater. Or if you're into moderns, this will be a great way to kind of switch things up a little bit while still being an homage to modern manufacturing. This is one of those knives that can kind of interest a lot of people if they just knew it existed. The Cold Steel Ranch Boss 2. Check it out.